Hello friends, I hope you guys are doing well. A long time no talk. I had my sister visiting from out of town and I had a great time with my nieces and everything, so that was really fun. But during that time that they were here, I didn't get to spend that much time in my garden, and you guys know it's that time of year where it's getting super hot, at least here in Florida anyway. Our daytime temperatures have been into the hundreds. Well, they've said they were in the 90s. However, every like measurement that I see, it says over 100. So like in my car and then like in the house and stuff like that. So I don't know. But the feels like has definitely been over 100 every day. So it's been super hot. And a lot of stuff's like burning up out here, and like I feel like I'm having to water a lot. So it is what it is. So some stuff I've kind of pulled out over the past couple of days, and I've been like trying to do some really deep watering because we were getting a lot of rain during that week. I wasn't in the garden a lot, but I don't think it was enough because a lot of stuff was like super dry. And I was like, oh no, I'm committing plant murder. But also, just to, add to the fun of everything, I tweaked my back. Oh my gosh, it's like getting old is not for the faint of heart, okay? For real, it's not for the weak, and it's like a problem. But anyway, I'm fine, you're fine, everyone's fine. So yeah, I guess I'll show you guys what's going on. Let me flip the camera around, and yeah, we'll take a look together. Be gentle, just be gentle. Just know I'm doing my best here, and I don't have unlimited time. So here we go. So I was just out here watering by hand, which I don't do every day, but the past couple of days I have been watering by hand, just so I can make sure everything gets a really deep watering. These tomatoes, I'm not going to read off all the little tags I kind of put under there, so to reduce the amount that the sun fades the Sharpie off of them. I know it's not going to completely stop it, but anyway, I just planted these maybe like a week and a half ago in here because they were about to die. But they've perked up a lot since I've planted them in here, believe it or not, even though they still look kind of gross. It's not the time to be planting tomatoes, but I planted the tomatoes, okay? You'll get over it. I'll get over it. We'll work through this together. I just planted these little... Oh, y'all, I'm coming down. I'm telling you what. If you've ever had sciatic nerve pain, listen, it's for real. Anyway, I planted these peppers that are not doing well. I just put them in here, but honestly, if they die, they die at this point. You'll see that there was some stuff that I think I had already planted in the ground in the last video I made that didn't make it. But these are some, they call them lunchbox peppers. I think they're just those little sweet peppers. But anyway, I really love those. So if they grow, they grow. If not, then they won't. And then these two over here are habanada peppers, which are just habaneros without the heat. So we'll see how those go. I'm interested to like play around with some of those things. Let's go ahead and move over to this one. Now, these tomatoes I planted like a week or two before those ones. So they had a head start. And they also had the benefit of being there during all the rain we had for a couple of weeks. And also before it got super hot. But anyway, I already have a tomato on that one, so that's cool. That's a mortgage lifter tomato. And there's a few other tomatoes, little baby ones on there. I need to do some pruning, I can see from this side. So I'll do that. I'll say I'm going to do it tonight, but it's probably going to be tomorrow. So, but yeah, these are doing pretty well. I don't know if you can see, but they look pretty healthy. I've been trying to stay on top of pruning them. I see some little spots of blight on them still. But honestly, tomorrow will be July 1st in Florida, and we're getting into the hottest part of the year, so you can only do what you can do. This is one of the, I think it's the Alma paprika pepper. It's the only plant I have for that one, so I hope that does well. It was really sick looking whenever I planted it. What's this? What is that? I thought it was a worm, but it's not. It was really sick looking whenever I planted it, and I trimmed like all the leaves off of it, and it looks like it's growing back pretty good. So, oh, you like my arm? I'm just showing you my arm. So that's cool. These are over here. These are Cubanelle peppers. Let's see, Jimmy Nardello, Cubanelle, and okay, yeah. So all of those are Cubanelle and Jimmy Nardello. So we'll see how those do. They've put on quite a bit of growth since I put them in there. So that is a good start. And then over here, this is where things get really good. So this is the other paprika pepper, the one that you know, Baker Creek sells. And let's see, what is it called? It is called a thing, but there's lots of pretty peppers on here. However, this plant has been through a lot. This is what it's called here. That type of paprika pepper. But we had a bunch of tornadoes and a lot of plants got blown over, and these were not properly supported. So, but they bounced right back whenever I put the little stick in there. But they have a lot of these brown spots on them, which I assume are blight. I'm not a professional pepper grower. I don't know a lot about it. But yeah, I did come through and prune quite a bit of leaves off of it, and I still see some problems. But since it's producing peppers, I don't really want to do too much to it. But I did take some of like the really affected leaves off. So, and this one is a jalapeno, which is a jalapeno with no heat. And I don't know what to do, y'all. It's not good. Look at it. I've trimmed off quite a bit of leaves, and it just keeps getting worse, doesn't it? But it does have a couple of peppers, small ones. I have another one of these plants on the porch in a pot that is doing phenomenal. So maybe I'll just let this, you know, be itself. It got really blown over in the storm. You can see that the stem is really jacked up. So I don't know. I had some sweet potato vines in here, but I realized that was not a great idea. So I pulled them out because that was just dumb. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did put a zinnia there. It will grow big and fill in that space. And then all of these here are California Wonder Peppers. And I'm super excited. I have already picked one of them. As a matter of fact, let me insert a picture of that here. So I hope that you enjoyed the picture of that beautiful pepper. Guys, I grew that. Isn't that exciting? Anyway, so I've got quite a few beautiful bell peppers on here. So that is just so exciting to me. Like I said, I am not a professional pepper grower. I actually have never really had success with peppers. You know, sometimes whenever I talk about gardening, it feels like I've been gardening for a long time, but really I haven't been gardening that long. I just started gardening, I guess, really gardening in 2021. Before that, I had grown like some tomatoes in pots and some peppers, and I never really, you know, wasn't anything serious. But I've always dreamed of having a big garden like this, even bigger and more beautiful, which it will be someday. But anyway, and something happened in 2021, and I said, you know what, life is short. You need to do the things that you want to do right now. So anyway, these are all California Wonder Peppers, but yeah. So I had also come through a couple of days ago and pruned a lot of leaves, because look how dense it is in the top, and on some of them. So it will have some like airflow and whatever. But yeah, they're doing their thing. This one, whenever I planted it over here, wasn't doing too hot. It looks like it's making a comeback though. So, you know, that was a while ago whenever I moved these over here, because all these California Wonders were over there, if you remember, if you've been following along. Why would you remember that? Anyway, these are Stone Mountain watermelon plants, and they do have some flowers on them, so that's cool. We'll see what those do. They've grown really big, so we'll see. That's promising. The pepper I picked was from this plant right here, and it's got quite a few more. See, that's so exciting. Oh no! See, I did the right thing by picking it, because look, something's eating it. Okay, well, that's not cool, man. I need to go get my scissors and pull that. I need to do that right now before I forget. Hold on. I'll be right back. Goodness, how disappointing is that? I wonder if it was just like stress or mold or something from like being against that stick. Dang. Either way. Okay, well, you know, you win some, you lose some. That makes me want to look closer at some of these now. Like, see how some of them are like jammed in there like that? A lot of them are like that, actually. Ah, it's like won't even come out. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, I'm not gonna waste any more of you guys' time on that. Okay, let's just continue on over here. Hang on, let me actually switch the camera because it's all messed up. Okay. So all of these, that's a tomatillo right there. Obviously it's really doing its tomatillo thing. And that underneath, that's this big thing here. This big thing is a Mexican sunflower. And then underneath it are all these, that's a volunteer tomatillo. That giant thing right there is a volunteer tomatillo that got blown over in the tornado, and it's still doing its thing. I've actually harvested a couple of pretty big tomatillos off of it already, so that's exciting. Got more peppers here, so that's cool. This one's little, but I took some stuff out that was shading it, and it looks like it's actually gonna do something now. And then that right there is another California Wonder, so that's cool. And you'll see I have marigolds all over the place, which you guys probably already know, but I've been having to like chop them back pretty aggressively because they've just gotten so big, I guess, in the heat. But yeah, and then these zinnias are really doing their thing too, which I just love zinnias. They're my favorite flower, but I love when everything kind of gets all jumbled up and beautiful. But once I start like choking out other things, that's whenever I'm like, okay, I gotta make some choices here. What do I really want? And this pepper, I don't know what kind of pepper that is. There are several pepper plants specifically that got jumbled up, and I didn't know what was what, so I just planted them, and I was like, well, we'll see. I actually have one in the front garden that I thought was a dahlia, and I planted it with my other dahlias, and it's definitely got a pepper on it now. So I'm excited to see what that turns into, but this one, I don't know. We'll see. It's starting to grow now that I cut the flowers back. Then I have some bean plants over here, a couple of bush bean plants that I left to see if they would do some more beans, because they were all small like that, and I want to see if they'd grow some more, but they're not, so I should probably just pull those plants up now. It's very hot for bush beans like that though, so you know, honestly, I can't believe I got as much as I did. But I had planted some more bush beans over here just because I had a bunch of extra seeds that were literally not going to work out. You guys know the story if you've been around a while. I spilled them, they got wet, took them out of the packages, they were all jumbled up, then I dropped them on my garage floor and whatever. You guys don't care. So they were gonna like get swept up on the garage floor and thrown away, so I said, well, let me stick them in the ground. So you'll see I have bush bean plants in places all over, just to, I don't know, get rid of them, I guess. So yeah, all these calendula, I'm surprised that they're alive in any capacity. I need to deadhead them. I'm sure they're self-seeding now. I can see some tomato plants popping up I need to pull. You know, there's just always something. These Everglades tomatoes, I believe, are the last Everglades tomatoes that I have left standing. I've been pulling them out. I think I'm going to let them stay for just a little while longer. At this point, I have so many Everglades tomatoes. Like, we've been eating them on salads and stuff, and I've been making like pasta dishes with them. And I mean, I feel like I've been using Everglades tomatoes nonstop, and I have like 3 or 4 gallon size Ziploc bags of them in my freezer. And I use them, you know, when I make certain rice dishes or whatever, or certain dishes that call for diced tomatoes. I'll use those instead. Of course, they do have the skin on them, so that is kind of off-putting to some people, but in some dishes I don't mind it, and some I do, so whatever. They're obviously best to eat fresh, but anyway. And then these these cucumber plants are still in here. This one shot out a whole bunch of new growth recently, so I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'll let it see. I was gonna pull them out once the last cucumber that was on it was done, which I just picked it yesterday. But since it did that recently, I was like, well, we'll see. So I need to do some pruning of those leaves. And this one got lost in the sauce, so I figured I'd wait for it to go to seed because it's turning yellow. And if you don't know, once a cucumber turns yellow, it is bitter. Ask me how I know. So I grew cucumbers for the first time last spring and lost track of them because, if you guys don't know, I had a baby last May. And anyway, all my cucumbers were gross. Not all of them, but most of them, because they turned yellow like that. And I wasn't really quite sure what size some of them needed to be picked because I planted so many different varieties, whatever. This year I just planted the white spine, which are my favorite, and that one is almost ready to pick, I think, for seeds. Because see how it's all yellow like that. I'm gonna let it go a couple more days. We'll see what happens. There was another wait, what was over here? I can't remember actually, but this is a red noodle bean, and I don't know why it's turning yellow like that. So I think it needs some stuff. I don't know. So when my bush beans turned yellow, I put some Epsom salt and lime, and they greened up, and they did really well. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. As a matter of fact, I might do it tonight before I go in. So yeah, because it's not looking so hot. But yeah, it's a red noodle bean. I've never grown those before. I hope they like the heat as much as the other noodle beans I've grown do. We'll see. We will see. And these over here, some of them are those bush beans I was talking about, and then some of them are bush cucumbers that I planted. I just kind of stuck some seeds in, and even they're not really bushes. They're still vines, but they don't vine up that big, so they don't really need a trellis. Well, I mean, no cucumbers technically need a trellis, but they don't, you know, you guys know what I'm saying, right? So I'm going to let them kind of cover some of the ground here. We'll see how that goes. I have planted bush style cucumbers a few times, and I've never really had any success with them, but you know, who knows. You guys see all the grass growing in here? There was a whole bunch of Everglades tomatoes in here that I pulled out. So this space is like newly empty, and I can see all the tomato carcasses here. So that tells me I'm going to have a whole big problem over here with Everglades tomatoes, because those things reseed like nobody's business. Apparently so do tomatillos. So I've warned you. But yeah, these marigolds have also been trimmed back. This blueberry is, we're not talking about blueberries this year, are we? So all the blueberry plants I have, we're just going to ignore them because they make me sad. This marigold, I'm going to have to trim it back too because it's doing a lot. This Meyer lemon, it was doing super great, and now it's not. So I don't know. I don't know how to grow a Meyer lemon. I don't know when they go dormant either, but when they do go dormant, I'm going to plant it somewhere so it can do whatever it needs to do to be happy. And then this is a pink lemonade blueberry. Again, we're not talking about blueberries. That's a mystery pepper plant that keeps getting trampled by the water hose every time I walk through here with it. So you know, it's just whatever. And these strawberries, man, they're sad, sad, sad. And we're not going to talk about those either because they're sad and they're getting moved. They're going on vacation. They're going on vacation. But these are Floridae tomato plants, and I got a ton of tomatoes off of them. And it's got a visitor here from Marigold. And these are supposed to be determinate plants. According to everything I saw about them, they say they're determinate. Well, as I was getting off all of the tomatoes, I was just trimming off all the pieces that are all jacked up like that, right? And as I was pulling off tomatoes, it just started shooting off new growth that looked beautiful and flowering. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, if you want to do that, you go right ahead. So yeah, it's flowering again. So I should probably continue to cut off the dead leaves if I'm going to leave it here, right? I don't know. I really planned on taking it out because honestly, I'm so sick of tomatoes at this point. I have a ton of tomatoes in the house, and I had planted all these other tomatoes that I'm excited to try, varieties I've never tried before. So really, I should just pull this out because at this point, it's just a waste of time. I've given away so many tomatoes. I've frozen tomatoes. I'm going to make salsa, but they all were ripening at different times. So I'm just freezing them and then whatever. You guys don't care, right? This is the same deal, same Floridae tomato plant. I picked all the tomatoes off of it and it started flowering and fruiting again. So yeah, I've got more tomatoes growing. So I felt like I couldn't pull it out because it wanted to give me more tomatoes and I didn't want to be rude. Anyway, that's a peppercini plant. It looks kind of sick, doesn't it? We'll see how it goes. I should probably pick off at least these yellow leaves, right? It'd be irresponsible not to. And over here, this is a mystery pepper plant too. They all keep looking like bell peppers, so I don't know. Everybody says bell peppers are harder to grow than hot peppers, but I don't know. None of my hot peppers are doing so hot. But man, isn't that beautiful? I love zinnias. And that's another pepper plant, which I assume is probably different than this other one. But it was getting shaded out pretty good from these marigolds, so I trimmed them back and I just kind of left them there to compost in place. So that's why it looks all messy, but it's fine. And these, which I kept calling Roma tomatoes, and they're definitely not Roma tomatoes. Oh my gosh, they're like on their last leg for real. But I'm just waiting for these last couple. I need to go ahead and pull them because they're blushing a little bit. And that plant is really not in good shape, is it? And these are some of those bush beans. Same deal. And they are real not good. But they're here. And that's all I have to say about that. And this is a asparagus bean, which is the green version of the red noodle bean. So we'll see how that does. I guess I need to do that Epsom salt thing I was talking about. Birdhouse gourd. Did you guys see that? Isn't that glorious? Man, I tried so hard to get those seeds to germinate. And there were a few little gourd babies here. And that's the only one I guess that got pollinated. So I don't know what's the deal with that, but whatever. Yeah, see, none of the rest of them got pollinated so far. So, but if I only get one, that's fine. So, and then this one here, I was trimming it pretty aggressively, and I don't know if it has a hornworm on it somewhere that did that, or if I did that, because honestly I can't really remember. But either way, it's not good. It's not having a good day today. It's looking pretty gross. So, I mean, I might just cut this out and say, you know what, I have enough tomatoes. We'll see, because this is not a good situation. And then I have some onions growing under there, so I should probably move this, but it might be shading them, keeping them alive. But yeah, I need to come back and get all these tomatoes tonight before I go in, because they're not in a good situation. Another view of my very sad and sick and hot strawberries. I don't blame them though, honestly. I'm hot too. And then my borage plants, I've been cutting them out. I need to cut these two out because they're definitely not good. And then the zinnias are really taking off now. That is a Fleur de tomato plant I just planted there yesterday, I think. And then a couple of collard green seedlings that were, listen, it's a long story, but I had some issues with the seed starting tray because I neglected it while my sister was in town. And so they were kind of like fried a little bit, but they were still alive. So I just stuck them in there. Let's see if I can zoom in with one hand. There's one, and where's the other one? Oh, I guess that's it right there. But yeah, they look all jacked up. Something's been walking in here. I can see tracks, so that's fun. But we'll see if the collard greens grow. If they do, that's great. If not, honestly, it's too early to plant them anyway. So, you know me, I'm just always doing stuff whenever I want. There were some canary melons over here, and I went ahead and pulled them out. I might have one of the melons that was actually ripe, and the rest of them were not. But something was getting into them, so I went ahead and pulled them. And then like boring into the melons themselves. So this is elderberry. I think it needs some fertilizer. So I really need to come out here with some fertilizer and fertilize everything. And of course, all these marigolds. I think the middle one's gonna come all the way out. So, you know, one of these days my back's gonna be young and hip again, and I'm just gonna be going wild. But yeah, my bean trellis has collapsed in a whole nother way now. So that's cool and fun, you know. So it makes harvesting great. Yesterday I almost just went ahead and took it all the way down. But there's still so many beans and it's flowering, and you know, it's way too hot. I don't know if you can even see all the beans through there. So yeah. Tomorrow, that's what I need to spend my morning doing for sure. Picking beans. So that's another thing I have a ton of, but that's fine with me because beans actually keep pretty well in the refrigerator, and we love eating fresh green beans. Like I like to saute them in a pan, and also they're really good. Well, they're really good all kinds of ways. So yeah, and it's my husband's favorite vegetable. So yes. Well, that one's fat. Hello, fatty. How are you? But yeah, so over here, there's a tomato. I can't remember what kind, but it's gonna die. I can tell. I just have a feeling about these things. And then of course I have a whole bunch of tomatillos. So this big tomatillo plant with all these tomatillos on it, I think that's one that I actually planted. I think that's the only one that survived from the ones I planted. I believe whenever I first planted out my spring garden, I planted 2 or 3 and cutworms got them. So then I was all bummed, and I was trying to germinate more tomatillos because you need at least 2 tomatillo plants to pollinate each other, or they won't give you any tomatillos. And turned out that was not actually a problem because tomatillos apparently self-seed like nobody's business. So yeah. But over here, oh, I just skipped a whole row. You guys, I'm sorry this video is so long. These are melons, and I had a cantaloupe growing down there, but something drilled the hole through it and started eating it. So I went ahead and took it off and threw it away, obviously. But I have a few more melon babies on there, so we'll see if those ever mature on either plant. Because I think, as far as I know, there actually aren't any melons on either one of them currently. But they're really big plants, so that's cool. There might be one in that mess in there, and I just can't see it because there's so many tomatillos. Gosh, what a mess. You know, and I keep going through here thinking like, okay, which one of these am I going to pull? But then, like, they'll have tomatillos on them, and I just feel like I can't pull them. So yeah, instead I just have literally no idea what's even growing in here. So yeah, there's a blueberry shoved in the middle of that. And then this tomato plant that's been blown over 1,000 times. Yeah, so that's that. That was one I thought for sure was dead, and it's definitely alive. More tomatillos in here that I did not plant. Didn't plant any of these. Yeah, blackberries. They look kind of sick though, so I don't know what's going on with that. This is a whole mess. This is one of the spots where I'm like, I need to pull something, but what do I pull? Like, I can't pull that. It's beautiful. What's that called? Do you guys know? I don't, but yeah. And then there's so many marigolds. I need to pull those all too. And then, oh, look, I have some, I have a tomatillo ready to pick. That's how you know when they're ready to pick. They fill up the husk and bust open. So sometimes they're small, sometimes they're big. I have some in the house that are huge, that are like bigger than these aren't that big, but bigger than these tomatoes and whatever. So yeah, like some of the tomatillos grow really big, like these. So anyways, these Mexican sunflowers, oh, you guys, my camera work is extra bad today. These Mexican sunflowers are doing phenomenal, so that's exciting. I just have a couple more things I want to show you, and then I will let you go. All right, hang on. Let me go to the last row, and I'm going to put this stuff down. BRB. Okay, so as I'm walking through here to get to the last row, I mean, there's just tomatillos everywhere. Like, at what point do I just say, we have enough tomatillos? Like, I can't even walk through my rows, you know? But I don't know. Am I the only one? I can't just throw them away. That's crazy. But anyway, the Mexican sunflowers are doing great. This one needs a lot of pruning. I need to actually start pulling some leaves off of them and using them as a green manure, which is the whole reason I got them. This, I need to just chop the whole thing down. This is a Tithonia rotundifolia, which is also a Mexican sunflower. But, you know, it's been through a lot. It got trampled by deer. It's been blown over in storms. And, you know, here it is in its glory. And I'm not going through the trouble to prune all this. I think it's just time for it to go. I think it's served its purpose. So when I get around to it, we'll see. It'll probably die before then, before I get around to it. So if you remember, there was a ton of Everglades tomatoes over here, and I chopped them down. This one just started growing back from the root because I didn't cut the root all the way out. So I'm going to need to do a better job about getting that out. These are Thai Soldier long beans. I'm going to string them up to this here. They get really big and take up a lot of space, so it will definitely fill out this area. I'm pretty sure that's a tomatillo that just kind of shot up from somewhere, so I need to pull that out. Over here, obviously, we just looked at all these tomatillos, and those are ground cherries. I have so many ground cherries, and we are just eating them, and I still have so many. I need to bring some to a friend of mine, and I also have a plant to bring her to for ground cherries, because they're really good. They are delicious, but there are too plentiful. I have one ground cherry plant here, and every day I could come out here and fill up like this giant bowl. But they're really hard to harvest too. So next time I grow these, I'm gonna have to figure out another way to trellis them somehow, some way. I don't know how people trellis these because they grow along the ground. So I don't know. And then I have another plant. Oh, look, it fell down. What happened here? This plant fell down, but it's giving these little tiny things that I originally had thought were I thought they were tomatillos, but I think they're ground cherries because they're behaving like ground cherries. And I think some grow upright like tomatillos, and some grow on the ground like that one is. They're different varieties. So I have tried to grow ground cherries multiple times. So there's been tons of seeds around and little seedlings and stuff. So I'm wondering if that is something that popped up from something I tried to plant another time. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I'll eat one, find out if I can keep them straight in my baskets. So anyways, there's a lot happening over here. I haven't even walked back here in a while, so I should probably do that, huh? Because I want to know what's going on with these Seminole pumpkins, because I've had to wrap them around here because they were coming out here in my way. So yeah, let's see. I saw that there were some flowers back here, but I didn't come to look to see if there were any pumpkins yet. But yeah, I keep thinking like, man, if I was a snake, I would definitely want to be over here with these pumpkins. And I really desperately, okay, if you guys remember, I had that big tarp out here. You can see where the outline was, and we pulled the tarp up and all the grass, well, most of the grass was dead, which was really super cool. Super easy to dig in. It's great. And you know, I need to come over here and like lay down some cardboard and mulch so that it doesn't all grow back. But here we are. It's too hot. But yeah, here we are with all these pumpkins. This is a white pumpkin. So that's cool. I like the leaves on it. Seminole pumpkins are all over here. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then this here is, what is this? This is, it's a citrus tree. What is it called? Oh gosh, it's escaping me. I planted these. These were some pepper plants I had, and they're not good. They need some mulch and stuff, and I'm probably not going to get around to it. So they're dead. We can just pretend like they're not even here. The sweet potatoes grew back. If you guys remember from my last video, the deer came and mowed them down, but they're back now. So that's cool. This actually has happened to me a couple of other times growing sweet potatoes. I guess a deer really likes sweet potato foliage. So yeah. And these comfrey are still, I mean, look at them. They're still doing really well. I can't believe that because they don't like the heat. And even like when it first started getting hot in the early spring, they were not doing so good. So I guess I got used to it. All of the watermelons over here, they seem to be doing okay. Some of the leaves over here look like they're struggling quite a bit. I feel like I've been watering them more than you really need to water watermelons at this stage. So I don't know if it's overwatering, underwatering, or if it has nothing to do with the watering. You know, plants are funny like that. But I've got a few melons. You guys know the story on these. They're a landrace melon, so they're all different. So yeah, that one, I bet if I turn it over, something's gotten into it because it hasn't been growing very much, and it's kind of like lopsided. So yeah, I bet if I turn that over right now, there would be a hole in it. That's okay. That's pretty. I haven't been over here in a couple of days, actually. Oh, look. You guys think that was pollinated? We should take bets. Is it pollinated or is it not pollinated? To be determined. This one was pollinated. Yeah, so once they get pollinated, though, they grow pretty rapidly. If you've ever grown watermelons, you know, like, you come out here one morning and then you come back the next morning, it's like a notable size difference. They get pretty big, pretty fast. So, yeah. What else do we got going on over here? Any new melons? You guys know I love looking for my new melons. This one will be ready, I think pretty soon. So I'm waiting for the tendril connected to it to start to die back. And yeah, but this one I think will be the first one ready, or this one. That one actually might be ready soon, like maybe now, because see that tendril is starting to get dry. Oh yeah, so maybe in the next couple of days. That's exciting. Over here, my tromboncino squash plants, I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna pull them, but then they keep fruiting again. So I don't even know what to do about that. So I've got one growing there. It looks like it grew really small, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe the heat. Maybe it was just that one was small. I don't know. But it's just shooting off new leaves everywhere. And if you guys remember, I trimmed all the leaves off it and it just grew all back. So I don't know. There's some tomato plants. That's a tomato plant and that's a tomato plant. You guys know what tomato plants look like at this point, don't you? So yeah, I've got them over here. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this tromboncino. I've got so many squash in my house right now, and it just keeps squashing more. It's just full of squash. So it sounds like I'm complaining, and I'm really not. I don't know. I keep thinking it's time to go, and it just keeps doing more. This jalapeno plant fell over a couple of different times. I just put this cage on it a couple days ago, and it actually looks a lot happier since I did that. So that's cool. Maybe it was stressed out from, like, you know, falling. Falling stresses me out too, honestly. I had planted a bunch of little baby jalapenos over here, if you guys remember. I think I did that before my last video, and they're not here anymore. So I don't know. Honestly, I think that right there is scarlet runner bean that just started growing from another time. I used to have a scarlet runner bean over here, and I think it decided it wanted to be here again. I don't know. We'll see. I left it there just to find out of curiosity. And then over here, I think this is the last thing. This strawberry was one strawberry plant, and now it's like 6 or more strawberry plants. That's beautiful, isn't it? And this is a poblano pepper. I think poblano peppers grow tall and skinny like that on purpose, but that one doesn't look so great. So I don't know. These are poblano peppers also, which, you know, I don't know what to say about that. Oh, I also planted these purple basil today. This one and this one. So we'll see how that goes. Really, I just needed to get a bunch of seedlings off of my table because it's just time to clear everything out. But yeah, I think that's all I have to show you back here. Oh, my little flower bed. It's pretty, right? Everybody admire my flowers. So yeah, that's what I have going on here. And you know what? There's a lot of beautiful stuff out here, and there's a lot of very questionable things, and there's a lot of work to do. So, you know, it's fine. It's good. And it'll get there, you know. This is going through its ugly phase right now, and it'll transition into a beautiful fall garden someday. But right now it's very hot. It's too hot to be working out here too much, and the plants are stressed out from all the heat. So, not the tomatillos. They're not stressed out at all. Look at them, happy as ever. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the rest of these very sad tomatoes, and I'm going to go in the house. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and a very good 4th of July, a very safe 4th of July. Everybody, please be safe. Remember, no drinking and driving, wear your seatbelts, be very careful with fireworks, and I don't know, don't look directly into the sun. Okay, all right, for real though, bye, till next time.